Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to another week. Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be discussing the Champions League draw that happened yesterday. Let me introduce my co-host Alice.
Hi guys, how are you?
All right. So the Champions League draw was yesterday. I would say it was very exciting. We have some very exciting matchups, some very good games to look forward to. But what are your thoughts so far on the draw?
Well, there were some interesting draws for sure, not just talking about Barca's perspective here. Going group by group,
Yeah. You want to start about in Group A?
If we look at Group A, we'll see Ajax, Liverpool, Napoli, and Rangers. This is an interesting group because, well, we all know who the winner of the group should be, which is Liverpool. But
it should be Liverpool. But looking at their start of the season, their injury problems, if Liverpool start with the midfield of Milner, Henderson, and Harry Elliott, I believe that's his
Harvey
name.
Elliott. Harvey.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they might suffer, but
It's going to be very hard for Liverpool because Ajax are if reports are saying that they're not going to sell Anthony to Manchester United. So if they keep a key player like him, and
and Haller as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then I believe he's out. But Ajax and Napoli are very tough and tricky teams. If Liverpool are not in their A game, it could be a very disastrous group for them.
Without a doubt. And one thing I like mentioning, let's assume, it's only the beginning of the season. Let's assume that by then, in a few weeks, Liverpool are going to be in better form and they'll be winning their games.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they win, who I see as a second place is up for grabs. Ajax have a great history in the Champions League,
Exactly.
and they always do well in the group stage. Napoli doesn't have a bad team. They could also surprise us. And Rangers is also a team that shouldn't be slept on. I mean, we're talking about a team that were finalists for the Europa League.
Yeah, exactly. Rangers is very exciting, especially at home.
Exactly.
It's going to be a very tough atmosphere. It's going to be a very interesting game, Liverpool versus Rangers, because there's some history there.
And, I saw them playing in preseason against Tottenham, and I thought they played it well. Spurs won in the end, but they made them work. And just looking at them, it's gonna be a hard group to play in.
No, yeah, of course. Like all of the teams are talented. Liverpool being ahead. I do see Liverpool finishing first, and I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna say Ajax are gonna finish second.
That's fair. I'd say that's the most likely scenario.
But it could be Napoli grabbing that second spot.
Or it could even be Rangers. Who knows?
It could even be Rangers. I think Rangers have an outside chance. I believe they're the dark horse in that group.
For sure.
But they still do have a chance of...
Now, moving out to Group B, it's a simpler group. We have Porto, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Leverkusen, and Club Brugge. Now, when looking at this group right here, you might think, well, this is an easy group for Atletico. But we're talking about a team that depends on counterattacking, defense, and is not a ball possession or a very attacking team. And these other clubs, they can do that. They can attack. They can control the game, especially Porto. Porto always has, well, not always, but in the past few years, they've been having more of a ball-dominating game. And when we look at Bayern Leverkusen, they're all teams that could very well be Atletico Madrid. And Club Brugge here, I would say it's fair to say they would be the weaker club. They'd probably be the one that gets eliminated in fourth. But again, this group, it's still very competitive. Not as competitive, I would say, as Group A, given that there are better teams there.
No. Yeah. What I would say is that out of all the groups, I think that this is the most boring group, just because none of these teams are in fantastic form. I would say, but Atletico Madrid, for example, we basically have to see which Atletico Madrid shows up. If we see the Atletico Madrid of Simeone, where they're very defensive, they play on the counterattack. I don't believe it's.
I don't think that'll work.
I don't think it will work. But we also see that Simeone has all these talented players: Griezmann, Correa, Carajo, João Felix, Morata. They have some very.
He can make it work for sure.
Yeah, exactly. He has a very talented team. To get some better results. But I do see Atletico Madrid topping that group, and I see Porto finishing second.
Yeah, that would also be my take. Although Leverkusen could take it as well.
I agree. It's going to be a tough group.
For sure. But not as interesting, of course, as Group A. Now moving on to our group and my favorite group personally, we have the group of death. This is Bayern, Group C, with Bayern, Barca, of course, Inter Milan, and Victoria
Pilsen.
Yeah, it's a little hard to pronounce.
But this is a very, very tough group because this has like a lot of narratives playing. This is a group where Xavi is going to be tested as a coach and Barcelona as a whole, just to see how much we've progressed in the last year. Because you remember last year when we played them,
very disappointing.
It was very disappointing. In the first game in the Camp Nou, we saw Koeman line up with three center backs. We had Mingueza, Lenglet, we had Luke De Jong and Memphis up top. And that was the game Pedri got injured. And basically, we didn't see him for like the rest of the season. But it was a very poor performance by Barcelona. It was very disappointing. And on top of that, the Barcelona that played Bayern at music at that time. Remember, this was the Barca of Koeman, the Barcelona that lost Messi, the Barcelona that lost.
No, we were suffering a lot as a team back then. But looking at it now and considering how much of a stronger team we are now, and also considering that Bayern aren't in 2020 anymore. They're out. In my opinion, they're out of their prime in recent years. They're still a great team, and they'll for sure dominate the competition and the Bundesliga. But looking at this, I think we have a fair chance of defeating Bayern. From a Barcelona perspective, the same way I think we also have a fair chance of defeating Inter Milan, who were champions of Serie A 2 seasons ago.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, it goes without saying that Victoria Pilsen. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Victoria Pilsen.
They'll for sure be the team that gets eliminated.
Yeah, but it's that team where you have to perform because we saw in previous occasions where teams such as Sevilla Prague came and they gave us a tough performance.
Sure. No, it's not a guaranteed win, of course. You can't underestimate your opponents.
When we see this group, Barcelona has to be at 100% at their maximum.
Yeah, a lot of pressure here
at
for
the
all
start,
teams, for sure.
And what matters is in the order of the matches in which they're played. We don't have it just yet. I believe it's going to release later tomorrow or later today. But the order in which we play these games matters because if we play, for example, Bayern Munich first and we go off with a loss and Inter Milan pick up points against Victoria Pilsen, then it's going to be we're already playing catch up.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how all teams line up. But as you were saying, we do need to be at our best from the start. We do need to be out there with hunger, with desire to win these first few games, especially games that are important for us, not only in this competition, but also for our morale and for our reputation. Being able to beat Bayern and get back some revenge for what they've done, in previous encounters.
Of course. I'd also like to mention is that Lewandowski is going back to Bayern.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Very interesting.
How he will play against
and seeing Mane come up against Barcelona. It's going to be a very interesting.
It's going to be an interesting matchup for sure.
Koundé or Araujo versus
De Ligt
Mane,
Upamecano.
And then also Koundé and Araujo versus Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan.
For sure. No, it'll be a tough match.
Yeah, but I believe all the games in this group are going to be very difficult. Barcelona's going to have to show that they're Barcelona under these past two games in La Liga, they're showing improvement.
For sure.
These players have to gel first, and it's a good thing that these games are not for another couple of weeks, where Barcelona have more time to gel as a team. Because Bayern Munich, they may not be as good as us on paper. We may have some players that are better than them on paper, but they're more of a unit. They're more of a team.
Right.
They've had more years to play together.
Most of their squad is relatively old. I mean, they haven't been. Most of their players haven't been bought in at least over 3-4 seasons.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna have to see Barcelona's best, but I see Barcelona topping this group. I'm going bold. As a Barcelona fan.
I mean, as a Barca fan, I would also have to say the same thing. I would hope that they top the group. I think they could. They have every resource available to them that they can use to top this. However, if I had to pick interchangeably, the top two would be Bayern and Barca. And I would think third, Inter, and fourth, Victoria Pilsen. It could go either way. Again, this is a very tough group. We could also fall.
Yeah.
And Inter could take our spot. But how I see it as well would be Barca first, Bayern second, and the rest I already mentioned. Now, moving on to Group D. A group that interests me a lot also as a Spurs fan.
Let's see.
It's some people have also called it a boring group, but I think this is an interesting one because we're looking at teams that, for the most part, are evenly matched. At least in some capacity.
Yeah, they're evenly matched in some capacity, but I do see Tottenham as the outright favorite.
Tottenham, especially in their current form and how they've been playing under Conte, they should have a fairly easy time in, at least compared to other teams.
Making
it out of the group stage.
I think if Tottenham don't even make it out of this group, I believe Conte should be put up for fraud.
Let's hope not.
Because this group. I believe there's no excuses. On top of it, with the team that Tottenham have built over this past summer, I believe
Tottenham's team. I think, in my opinion, is a genuine Premier League contender. Therefore, they should be playing at their best here.
Exactly. Well, but we're gonna have to see how consistent they are
for sure.
And they're especially going up against the Europa League champions.
Yeah, no, we're looking at strong teams right from the go. We're looking at Frankfurt, which, as you said, they win the Europa League and are a very strong side.
And you have to forget that they knocked us out last season.
They did. It's a good squad. And we're looking at Sporting de Portugal. Now, this is an interesting match.
Historic teams.
Right. This is an interesting match just because Sporting aren't the strongest here, but they're a team that fights a lot, and they're a team that will scrap and try to get any point they can from you. So again, it's a team they have to play well. And we're looking at Olympique de Marseille. I would also say it's one of the weaker teams here, but still you can't underestimate them. They do have quality players, and they will do the same. They will fight with everything to try to catch a few points and see if they can progress.
Yeah, and there's also been some rumors of CR7. You know how Ronaldo is unsettled in Manchester United and he's looking for an exit. He's basically rumored everywhere. He's being offered to every single team. And both Sporting and Marseille, rumors were happening.
Yeah, well,
that Ronaldo was going to join either of these teams to play Champions League football.
If I were to say, however, I would say Sporting.
Yeah.
Just because of the nostalgia and the history that he has with this squad.
But I still see that very unlikely. I don't think that's going to happen. But for Group D, I see Tottenham finishing first.
And Frankfurt a close second.
I would go with Marseille instead as the second. Yeah, because Eintracht Frankfurt, they haven't started that well this season. You saw against the performance against Bayern Munich.
That's true. Yes. I'm
going bold with this prediction.
Be that as it may, I would say I would stick to my opinion. I think it would be Frankfurt, but again, Marseille could surprise us. We could see it go either way. Now, moving on to Group E, this is also a very strong group. We're seeing AC Milan, a legendary team in the competition. We're seeing Chelsea, who, although haven't started that well this year, are also a very important team in this competition historically. Exactly. We're looking at FC Salzburg, a team that oftentimes has surprised us with their quality of their players and their performances in the Champions League.
Exactly.
And we're looking...
You think about Haaland against Liverpool.
Exactly. Great performance. And then we're looking at, at Dynamo. Now, I'll say this. In this group, the competition is so fierce that I wouldn't be able to give you a first and second place.
A first and second place. Well, I mean, Milan, it's with Rafael Leao, with a strong team. It's going to be very tough for Chelsea because going to the San Siro, Chelsea are going to have to be on their A game.
No, for sure. And that's the thing, though. Now, I'm looking at the Chelsea squad, and from a non-biased point of view, because I am a Spurs fan as well, and I do have certain biases against them, the Chelsea squad isn't as strong anymore. They're suffering. They're suffering in attack. They're suffering in their defense.
Yeah, exactly. They're struggling to create chances.
Well, no, the chances are there, but I'm saying they're struggling to finish them. They rely...
Well, this is precisely why they're linked with Aubameyang.
Yeah, because they have a lot of failed chances and missed chances with the likes of Raheem Sterling and Kai Havertz, who on their own, they're great players, but they're not finishers. They're not nines. They're not strikers. So I do see a lot of chances being created, but the team suffers a lot. And to be honest, I don't know what to tell you. I could also see them losing to Salzburg.
Yeah.
Salzburg can also surprise us.
Yeah, exactly. All these teams are very competitive, and Chelsea are looking to bolster their squad with the additions of Anthony Gordon
From Everton. Yeah.
being rumored 60 mil for Anthony Gordon. I think that's heavily overpriced.
Well, it's often what's attributed to the English tax.
Yeah, the English tax, and then Aubameyang.
Right, that would be quite the signing for him.
Yeah, it'll be quite the signing, and good for us because we're gonna be releasing wages off a wage bill.
Of course, we will be getting money,
and then we will be getting money for someone who came in on a free. We would obviously lose Aubameyang because he's a fantastic player
who was quality for us. It is worth mentioning.
He was quality. Who I look back fondly over his time at this club, but yeah, I believe it's a win-win for all parties because when you think about Aubameyang, he's basically waiting for Lewandowski to get sick because otherwise he's not gonna.
He is not gonna see the light of day.
Yeah, he's not gonna be the one starting. But I am gonna go for Chelsea in first, AC Milan in second. And I think it's a toss-up between Salzburg and Dinamo for the Europa League spot.
I would actually go the opposite route.
You would go for the opposite route?
I would say AC Milan first.
Okay.
Chelsea second. And Salzburg third.
Okay.
I would say this because, as someone who admires the AC Milan squad, I would see them... quite frankly, I could see them topping this group. And if Chelsea don't fix their issues,
no, exactly. I definitely see that happening.
I could even see Chelsea finishing third if they
finishing third. Wow, that's actually a surprise.
That's not my first opinion. I would see them finishing second, but
finishing second.
We would have to see.
Okay. No, yeah, because we would in the Champions League. There's always an upset because when you think about last year, Barcelona being knocked out by Benfica. That was a massive surprise. The Champions League is always full of surprises, but that's my prediction for Group B. And now looking to our arch rivals, Real Madrid in Group F. I believe Real Madrid have had such a favorable draw.
Yeah,
it's
almost too favorable.
Yeah, exactly. This group is way too easy for them. But this is what you get for winning the Champions League and being Pop 1. You have these favorable draws.
For sure.
But they also got very lucky with the draw as well.
Well, if we look at it, we do see a team that is the only type of competition I think they have here, for the most part, which would be RB Leipzig. Now, it's also a squad that can have an opportunity of fighting, and overall, I think they have the best chance here to be the other finalists of the group. We look at Shakhtar Donetsk. I'm sure in Ukraine they're a good team, but
in Europe, what I think is going to happen is Real Madrid are going to get off points and they're going to lose Shakhtar away from home against Shakhtar Donetsk because Real Madrid always starts slow in the Champions League.
Yeah, and oftentimes they also sit their players.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably going to rest their players, so I wouldn't be surprised that they may drop some points, but I see them finishing.
Yeah, and then we have Celtic, who shouldn't be slept on either because they do have possibilities of maybe finishing third, and
they're a historic team.
Yeah, and if Leipzig don't even perform that well, they could finish second, which I think it's unlikely. But my prediction for this group, as it's not that complicated, I would say Real Madrid and Leipzig.
Yeah, I would go exactly. But I'm very excited to see Celtic back in the Champions League.
For sure.
And seeing the atmosphere.
Scottish teams are very, very welcome to this competition. Yeah. They got great fan bases. It's good to see them back.
And then looking to another... I would say tough group would be Manchester City's group against Sevilla, Dortmund, and Copenhagen.
Yeah, this is an interesting group as well. We saw a few of these groups where there were some major clubs from Europe all playing each other. Not quite as much as the group of death, which is Group C. But we look at teams like Manchester City, champions of England. In so many years, they have been doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's a team that, although they oftentimes flop, they oftentimes have bad performances once they get past the group stage, it's a team that always dominates the group stage. And, we also see Sevilla, a team that in La Liga
has had a poor start.
And then
on top of that, their preseason was very poor. You remember against when they conceded, believe it was 6 goals against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then also they lost both of their starting center backs, Koundé and Diego Carlos.
No, for sure. It's been tough for them, but still, it's a team with history. It's a team
of course.
that often plays very well in Spain. And, I think it's a team that they should look out for. It's a team that can deliver a punch to anyone in that group. Then we have Dortmund, a squad that, again, so much talent, always packed with players that they often give to Bayern.
Yeah, but then you also see that they also started very poorly in the league.
Yeah.
You think about last weekend when they completely collapsed, winning 2-0 in the 89th minute, and then having 3 goals concede 3 goals in a matter of minutes.
Very, very poor.
Yeah, it's a very poor. And then I think Manchester City is rightly outright favorites to top that group.
Especially now they have Haaland, who will be interesting seeing him play against Dortmund. I'm facing their new striker. What's his name? The young Dortmund striker they signed recently.
I don't remember. But this is a very exciting group. I believe Manchester City will finish first. I really think it's a toss-up between second and third to see who gets that spot. But I wouldn't completely discard Copenhagen, because this is a team that can complicate Sevilla or Dortmund and knock off points. And you also have to think like, hey, these teams could fight for a Europa League spot, and I believe that's going to be their aspiration.
So I looked it up real quick. It's Adeyemi.
Adeyemi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who left Salzburg, I think.
Yeah. So no, it'll for sure be an interesting group as well. But my predictions will have to be City and Sevilla winning it, and Dortmund third. But again, maybe Dortmund could put in the work and get Sevilla, but City shouldn't have a hard time defeating these teams. And Copenhagen, yes, they could have a chance, but realistically, the odds are very well against them.
So now looking into the final group, Group H is going to be PSG, Juventus, Benfica, and Maccabi Haifa, the Israeli team.
Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting group as well, because we have teams here with history and some that don't. One of them being PSG,
but they have a very talented squad, and they look fantastic on their guys.
Exactly. We look at there's been such a growth in chemistry between mainly Neymar and Messi, but also Mbappe, who's getting used to these two controlling the game and him just running in behind.
Yeah, and then on the top of the system that Galtier is using, that 3 in the back, having wide wingers, having Neymar and Messi more closer to the middle of the park, and having them centrally instead of wide, where it's no longer their best positions. Messi was a winger, but many years ago.
Yeah, now he's older, and it's fine. If he wants to control the game, that's the way to do it. Then you look at Juventus, a team that has had such an excellent summer. They signed the likes of Angel Di Maria, Pogba. It's
Kostic from Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah,
but Juventus haven't started their league season well either, and they have Di Maria injured. They have Pogba injured. I would say with these players fit, I believe they can give a run at PSG. But if not, I believe PSG can roll over all these teams. If they continue the way they're playing.
Precisely. And we look at Benfica, it's a squad that has surprised us, and in the past have played well against top teams. You know, it's a team that we shouldn't discard, that we should say, well, they're not the best, for sure, but they still have a chance, you know, and we still got to see how they perform. Now, obviously, Maccabi Haifa. With all due respect,
I see the PSG front three. I believe that they're going to run riot. I believe they're going to score 5.
You know,
6,
we try to be respectful, but you know, this is a team that has no European history. They will surely lose. I say this without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, but I believe the same thing's going to happen. I believe Maccabi Haifa they're basically coming just to enjoy the occasion, going to the Parc des Princes and going to these stadiums and just basically having a tour, because otherwise I don't see them getting any points off these teams.
So if I had to give a prediction for this group as well, I'd say PSG Juventus moving forward.
But I would say it's a toss-up between Benfica and Juventus. I would say.
Yeah,
but I do see PSG
I
and
think
Juventus
it's a little more likely.
Yeah, I believe it's more likely. But those are our predictions for the group stage. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who do you think is gonna win it all? Who do you think is gonna be the champion?
The champion. Mm-hmm. Well, as a Barca fan, I'd like to say Barca. You know, also I'm also a Spurs fan, but realistically, there's better teams out there. I think I would have to say Barcelona winning it. However, you know, I'll put my money on Barca. I would say it's them. I think the team that's gonna surprise everyone this year though is gonna be Tottenham. Tottenham's gonna surprise people.
I do have them as my dark horse. But as much as I would like and would love to see Barcelona, I think the project under Xavi is still ongoing. I believe Barcelona isn't the finished product just yet. I believe Barcelona can compete against anyone. I believe we should.
We can beat any team here.
We can beat any team. Just we're not the finished product just yet.
Right.
I believe there's still work to be done. I believe Barcelona can go very far today. I believe semis minimum. With this team, but I do see PSG going the farthest. I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Despite them choking in the past,
I would say that because compared to other years, I believe this. When you look at PSG's performance, you see them as a team. In other years, you would see them as a group of individuals, 11 players, and not
a squad.
And not a squad. And so under Galtier, I'm very excited to see what PSG can offer, and especially with the front three clicking of Messi and Neymar and Mbappe. Because you did see last year that they dominated Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Just that collapse at the very end.
Yeah, it was a shock.
Yeah, it was a shock, and then you saw Real Madrid doing the same thing against Chelsea and Manchester City. But so the favorites would be PSG, Man City, Barca, of course, other teams. But I see PSG.
So if you had to say, it would be PSG winning it.
I would see PSG winning it all. Barcelona get knocked down in the semis.
I would say Barca, but
Yeah, of course.
We'll just have to wait.
Well, I would love to see Barcelona winning the Champions League. There's nothing more I would like to see. But guys, that was it for our Champions League prediction. This was our reaction to the group draw. Please let us know down in the comments your reaction, your thoughts. What do you think of Barcelona's group? We have a very tough group in Bayern Munich and Inter in our group. We're going to have to be our very best to get out of that group and to finish first. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this season. In the Champions League, you want to face the best, and this is our opportunity to do it. So, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys all in the next video.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.